So we have to move to the next part of the event. Thank you, Greg. I would like, Aldis already shortly introduced himself, but I would like to give the floor to Aldis Greitans. He's MBA Programs Director at RBS. And Aldis is a great example on how people have lifelong and ever-changing relationships with Riga Business School. He, as already he mentioned, he was a student at RBS, MBA program, and then he became a faculty member, and now he's MBA Programs Director. Aldis will tell you more about the mission and structure of the professional MBA program, and he'll be able to answer all of your questions if you have any. So I encourage you again to write your questions in the chat box. Aldis, the virtual floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Nowadays it's modern to say that Zoom is yours. Well, okay, as Elsa already told that I am Master's Program Director at Riga Business School, and I already told to you myself that I'm graduate of this school. That was quite some time ago, back in '96, and since that I had a quite intensive and extensive professional career. But I was teaching in and out in Riga Business School almost since the moment of graduation, and now since 2017 I'm a faculty member, and then also since 2019 MBA Program Director in Riga Business School. Well, actually, talking about Riga Business School, yes, we have 30 years anniversary this year. We are 30 years old, and 30 years ago Riga Business School was established by Riga Technical University and two other parents, I should say, of Riga Business School were State University of New York at Buffalo and Ottawa University. And in fact, we should say thank you to two great personalities. One is Valdemar Zinus, who was vice president of, who is still vice president of University at Buffalo, and Professor Olafs Brinkmanis from Riga Technical University. So they established this project and literally pushed it, as we can say, on a market. And since that, the Riga Business School has prepared more than 2,500 managers. Actually, we have more than 2,500 graduates. Well, from talking about other partners, we have nowadays very close partnership with BI Norwegian Business School, and we have partnership in preparing faculty for all Latvia with Latvian University. We are managing actually multi-million project of preparing faculty for all Latvian universities in United States. Talking about the mission, our mission was to prepare managers. Right now, our mission is actually to prepare people which are ready to run business, which are ready to manage business, and who are able to operate in complex and volatile business environment in the global on the global level. And if we look back, then actually recently we were kidding with the director of Riga Business School that there is no serious company in Latvia where in the top management we cannot meet a graduate of Riga Business School. Sounds funny, but that's true. You can see the set of logos and everywhere are our graduates, and you can see on a map where our alumni works. I even suspect that this map is not complete. We should have more flags on this map, yes, but basically this is the evidence that Riga Business School in its mission was quite successful, and we prepared a lot of businessmen, we prepared a lot of successful managers, and also successful experts in different fields. Talking about our mission, actually about our philosophy, we, as you probably noticed, have three levels of education. It's bachelor education, where we are teaching school graduates and we are teaching them basics of business management, basics of business, basics of entrepreneurship. And then we have professional MBA program, which is already for people which have achieved something in their life and which actually need or want to improve their knowledge, to improve their skills, to make next step in their career, or probably to develop their own business more professionally. This is about professional MBA, where we are teaching management skills. And management skills doesn't mean only like things like accounting or marketing or things like this. More and more, we are talking about so-called soft skills, leadership, people management, and things like this. So we are keeping those skills in balance at Riga Business School. And then there is Executive MBA, which is for people who actually have achieved already some probably serious managerial or business positions, and then they want to refresh their knowledge, they want to gain edge in their skills, and they want to develop their personalities, or more correctly, probably the next step in the career, and the next step in their business develops on their personality, and they want to be better managers than even they are right now. So talking about professional MBA philosophy, which is part of Riga Business School philosophy, actually our goal is to provide global knowledge, and then we want our graduates to be prepared to operate on global level, not only on Latvian level. Very often we have discussions here in our auditoriums why you have so many examples from around the world, from outside Latvia. Give us more examples of Latvia, but we want to be sure that our students think globally. They understand the global challenges of the management. And we also are paying more and more attention to develop entrepreneurial skills. We are spending more and more efforts to train our students not only in managerial skills, but also to develop enterprises, to develop their own business. So that means professional MBA actually means some sort of journey. And then this journey is, first of all, from broadening worldview, from gaining transferable skills. And I think this is very important. Here you are getting the skills which allow you to operate not only in your current industry, in your current position, but basically you are getting skills which will allow you to operate in your probably next career position or operate in other industries. And this happens quite often. We see our graduates moving from one industry to another industry, and they still are successful by changing industries, and they are still successful by growing in their careers. So another thing which you are gaining when you are gaining skills, when you are gaining knowledge, is self-confidence. That's very important. You know what you do, you know what will be next step in your activities, and then you know you can approach companies, and you can develop companies next step in the business. And then strategic thinking, which means that you control, that you understand the complexity, you see the context of how the company is working, how the industry is working, how markets are working. So this is quite some journey, but actually this is what our students are getting here, and this is also my experience. Basically, from the person which actually didn't understand a lot of things in management, I moved to a person who was able to initiate, for instance, development of first bank's budget in the country. That was back in 90s when the banks here in this country were still very, very young. And so we see a lot of our graduates developing during their studies here, developing projects, developing new services, which are introduced on the market by the companies and which are helping the companies to improve the competitive positions. Here is one slide. I'm a little bit confused to show. This comes from the research done by Ministry of Education, and actually it shows the revenue growth in 2 years after graduating. Different high schools, or more correctly, different master programs, administrative master programs in Latvia. And honestly to say, I was a little bit shocked to see a Riga Technical University figure. But there is reasons to assume that this research was correct. And the Riga Business School actually is part of Riga Technical University, and I have a quite educated guess that Riga Business School is the institution which is making up this figure. Of course, this figure also, that some part of this figure comes from Faculty of Administration and Engineering Economics, which also has master's programs in different administrative master programs. So behind you, so here in Riga Business School, you can get not only good knowledge, good skills for your career development, but statistically, it also shows that you can get a salary rise in some period. And by the way, another recent news is there is organization Universal. This is a rating organization which ratings different type of high schools all around the world. And Universal has graded Riga Business School as top 5 business school, number 5 business school in Eastern Europe. So this is quite some achievement for our school, and then we are happy about this, getting this rank in this ranking. A little bit about our professional MBA program. So it's 15 courses, 9 core courses and 6 elective courses. 9 core courses are things like statistics. Actually, statistics is one of the first courses we are suggesting to take, and many students think that when they finish statistics, then basically the rest is just peanuts. You are almost ready to graduate. Yeah, statistics is the most complex, most heavy course in our program. So among core courses, we have strategics, of course, marketing management, and many other things. And then when we are talking about elective courses, you can take things like transformational change, digital transformation, and a few more. You can actually find the information on our website, and we'll also, if you have shared your email, we will share this material over email. One more thing is I must warn you, to graduate from Riga Business School, you should of course develop and defend your master thesis, but you should have average grade 8 to get our diploma. This is a request. Probably sounds terrifying, but basically the quality of our students is so good that I actually do not recall any student having problems to get this grade. This is our requirement, and as you can understand, this is our requirement because we want to keep our quality up, and then we want to keep and improve our ratings. Talking about our alumni and profile of our student, you can see the profile of 2019. Actually, between graduates, there were 41% women and 59% men. However, I should say that this percentage is growing and moving closer to 50-50. The average age is about 30, so you will meet here mature people with already good careers, and there is always interesting to have discussions, not only in professional discussions, not only in auditorium, but also next to the coffee machine or water dispenser. And basically, I think that in any classroom, the concentration of students, the concentration of the knowledge is such that we can almost solve like almost any managerial problem. So the quality of our students is high. Well, it turns out that most of big part of our students are coming from ICT industry. We are also very popular among banking and financial industry, but on the other hand, as you can see, the industry diversity among our students is quite good, and really appreciate this because according to my mind, according to Riga Business School philosophy, it's a multidisciplinary world, and having more different industries represented in the classroom, that's one of the ways how we can provide students with multidisciplinary understanding, multidisciplinary view on the business world. Talking about our courses, we have very fresh news. Riga Business School has signed an agreement with MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I think I don't have to introduce this high school. And based on that contract, we provide credit point transfer, and we include in our program 3 so-called MIT Micro Masters programs. One is statistics and data science. Another one is finance, and the third one is supply chain management. Out of those 3, 2 statistics and supply chain management actually are, I think, should be very popular here because probably you already know from your occupation and then from your experience that data specialists, people who can work with data, and supply chain specialists are in short supply, not only in Latvia, but in short supply all around the world. So by having those programs on our syllabus, on our curriculum, I think we also can further increase quality of our graduates and to give them more opportunities globally. Well, I am almost finished. You can see two main persons in charge of master programs. That's me. You can see my contacts, and should you have any questions, you can approach either me or my colleague Diana Rachinska, who supports students and also applicants in their daily life, in their questions. So should you have any questions, there are contacts. They are also on our website. Feel free to ask questions, and then feel free to approach us. Yep. So thank you for your attention. Questions are welcome.
Thank you, Aldis, for introducing us to the professional MBA program. Dear audience, do you have any questions to Aldis at the moment?
Yeah, Linda raises her hand.
Yeah, I have a bit more practical question about the timeline. So for this year, when does the study start? Probably it's hard to say yet, but is the plan also to hold them online or in the premises? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Linda. Actually, that's something I skipped I forgot to tell in my presentation. Yeah, the study starts in September, in beginning of September. And actually, we cannot predict what will be the epidemiological situation in the country. Everything depends pretty much on the government and the vaccination and things like that. Unfortunately, this is not controlled by our graduates. Right now, Riga Business School is working in online only. We are providing our classes in online regime. We are using Zoom. We have very extensive technology. Actually, I am sitting in the middle of three big screens. One screen is beyond my back, but I have two more big screens, interactive screens on in front of me, and I have camera in front of me, and I have three microphones in the range, my range of visibility, a lot of other things. So we are technologically very prepared to provide online lectures. And actually we are very proud we were the first and the only high school in Latvia which didn't skip any class when a year ago on the evening of March 12th, the extraordinary situation was introduced. Our first lecture, online lecture, took place already in the morning of March 13th. So we were prepared at that moment. Talking about classes, we see what's going on in the world, and it's clear that there are some tectonic shifts in education, and we think there will be no way back to in-class only, especially talking about master's programs. So we are prepared, and we will continue run when the extraordinary situation will be cancelled. We will continue running so-called hybrid mode. We will allow students to choose. Then they will be able to come to class, or our classes will be also taken in parallel online. So this will be mixed mode. Well, if I answered your question. Yeah, Yanis, please.
Hello. Yes, one question. How much, supposing that 2 courses per semester are taken, how much time does it take, these classes? How many times per week and how many hours?
Oh, well, actually, those are, if you are taking two courses per semester, it takes you two afternoons, basically from 2 days from 6 to 9. That's the class itself. But then we are asking also students to do pre-reading, to work on different type of case studies, make homeworks and things like that. Well, so how much time does it take? Well, it depends how organized you are. From my own experience, I should say that I had to spend, when taking 2 courses per semester, I had to spend at least one whole, usually Saturday, of doing homeworks and doing the home reading and things like that. This is from my experience. I think it correlates with experience of other students too.
On this note,
can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
One more question. Please tell us about tests, intellectual tests, GMAT, and English language tests that we will need to pass, or how it will need to be this year.
Okay, English language test. So far we've had TOEFL test, but we replaced this with, Elsa, can you help me?
EduSync test.
That's online test. You can take it online, pay by yourself, and we'll accept the test. Well, we have our own intellectual test. It is similar to GMAT, but actually we are thinking, looking for better, more modern option to replace this. But basically, the intellectual test will be similar to GMAT anyway.
We will send all of this information to you via email, so you can look back at it and look at it in detail. Is it okay with you? Or would you like to get more details at the moment?
All great, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diana. We are running a little short in time, and I would like to introduce my classmates and students and alumni of Riga Business School as well, and then we can share the details on the admission with you later on. So I see that my friends are here today, Eugenia, Laura, and Arturs. Hi. Maybe
Hi,
you can
hello.
unmute yourself, and I will give the floor to you. So here are, Arturs is already an alumnus of Riga Business School, and Eugenia and Laura are graduating this year. Congratulations once again, ladies.
Thanks.
Maybe we can organize it that I will introduce each of you one by one, and you can shortly tell about yourself. So maybe we can start with Laura. I will read your job title, but maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit more. So you are a recruitment and employer brand lead at Rimi Baltic.
Yeah,
Maybe
hi.
you can tell us a little more about how you chose to study here in our professional MBA program, and how was the studies?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me here. Yeah, why I joined. Actually, at the time when I started to think about business studies, I was employed as a management team assistant, and I was taking notes of the management team meetings and preparing report summaries. Later, I was promoted as a part of Pan-Baltic HR team, and I was actually part of the decision making. And I understood that I do have a solid and very theoretical knowledge in the area of my interest, which was marketing, but I really had a very narrow or none at all knowledge in general business management. So I actually used to write down those team management meeting notes with actually fully understanding the content, especially the area of finance. This is my blind spot, so to say. And in those Pan-Baltic meetings, I also was kind of sitting and learning on the way, because I also, again, lacked the knowledge in sort of simple topics like people management or organizational behavior or business processes. And I did want to have a good conversation with a colleague about the business problem or have opinion on my own about it. And I know that learning by doing is great and important in the work. However, it really lacks the versatility, and you are influenced by the environment and colleagues around you. You kind of overtake their learnings. And I have heard this so many times that this has always been like this, or we have done it like this for years. And you lack the broader perspective, and you actually are not giving added value to the team. So what I really value a lot from the studies at RBS were those debates and discussions in class with course mates from different businesses, with different level of expertise, level of experience and background. So this for sure broadened my perspective, and first forced to look at issues from different angles and be able to challenge existing processes and opinions in my team and workplace. So I also really did enjoy those case studies where we were analyzing companies, and we had actually opportunity to have a hands-on experience. So we could take a real work, real life problem and look for the solution for it. It was especially appreciated by the course mates, because we actually had quite many course mates who did take the actual problem from the work, and they worked out the solution. They brought it back to the employer, and they did actually implement it in the real life. So during my studies, I understood that I started to feel more confident at work. I was recognized by my strategic view and fact-based arguments, as well as leadership skills. And I really believe that RBS did a big contribution here. So there was a question about length of the studies. I actually did study for 5 years, and I'm actually very happy for my decision. I took this so-called long-term approach because I took courses which were more important to me at the current time. I could very well balance my workload. And what is very important, I met so many new people on the way. I was really amazed how many professional, driven, ambitious, and interesting people are actually studying at RBS. And it also age diversity. Some students were fresh from the bachelor's, and then there were some top managers in the late 40s with a solid work experience. And this makes very interesting team discussions and environment itself for studying. So basically the set of the core courses gives you the base for business management. And then there are those elective courses where you can really personalize your experience and make your choices what you want to learn at that moment. And what is also important, that school is continuously improving and thinking how to offer the most relevant elective courses based on student feedback. So I got an opportunity. I would say I'm really happy with the elective courses which I got. They were really relevant for me. So my priority was not to finish school as soon as possible, which is, I think most of my course mates finished it in 2.5 years. I did in 5, but I wanted to gain the experience, the knowledge and connections, which I did. So I really enjoyed the whole time, including those late evenings. I think the most vivid memory I have is about statistics course. We were, I think, around eight students who were not the best in it, but we were really, really eager to learn and we wanted to get a good grade. So we were meeting every Sunday evening for like 3 or 4 hours and studying together, like making those homeworks together. And that not only bonded us as a kind of course mates, but also helped us to learn better together. Yeah, and what is also very important is that tutors are very open, friendly, and treat you as equals. So we also got the relevant guest lectures from business owners or managers from top companies in Latvia and abroad. And in general, the atmosphere in classes is very relaxed and friendly. So I can say that I gained a lot from this program for my personal growth and also for my career. So I will miss RBS now. So yeah, this is my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. That is a great story. Now, I also graduated from the MBA program 2 years ago, and now all the memories came back to me. And actually, Eugenia was one of my study buddies sometimes. We also spent Sundays together doing our group works and homeworks. Eugenia, I would like to introduce you. You are a founder of translation and localization company, Yummy Translations. And I believe that you also took advantage of the flexibility of the studies. And as far as I know, you also took the courses that were most relevant for you at that moment, right? Maybe you could
Exactly.
Also say more.
Exactly. Okay. First of all, I'm so glad to see everyone. And I miss RBS so much. I just defended my thesis in the end of January, but I already miss RBS so much. I am an immigrant from Russia to Latvia. I moved here for about 7 years ago. And after I got myself familiarized with the place a bit, I understood that I could go to get an MBA, and I chose RBS. At that moment, we were a small startup. Actually, it was still a startup, but much larger. And we were on that baby stage of the company when there were 3 of us co-founders, and we had a meeting, and my colleague just said, so you will be responsible for all the HR and client relations. Cool, I thought. I know everything about localization, but I didn't know anything except my own experience about HR and client relations. So I understood, I really like the knowledge, and I understood that if I want to grow, I need to get some knowledge. And yes, and I remember how I visited the same meeting. It was offline, but yes, I remember Elsa talking about her experience as a student very vividly. So yes, I chose RBS and I was very happy. Sometimes it was, as ladies already said, the Sunday meetings, Saturday meetings, everyday meetings sometimes, but it was pretty interesting to work in close groups with people that from absolutely different industries. Had, for example, a group on financial management. Was one guy was in car selling business. Another person was in journalism as editor-in-chief. They had very interesting knowledge about the other people's work. So I actually took 16 courses instead of 15 because, you know, I had 3 years and a half. I think I started in September 17th, and I defended my thesis this January. So 3 years and a half. And I took 16 courses because after I got 15, the new course, IT and Strategy, was created, and I wanted to go there because actually that's what my thesis was about. Sorry, kids. So the topic of my thesis was surprising even for me, because first of all, when I started, I thought that I would maybe write something on HR in remote teams. That's what I had the coursework on HR management. I thought that I would write about that, but somehow during the learning, during the studies, I understood that what's really interesting for me is strategic data-driven decisions. So we created the internal quality management system. It was my idea, and I was overseeing it, and actually I wrote my thesis about this, and it was amazing. I liked writing thesis a lot, though I was very tired of it, of course. I wrote it with Sanita, who was the instructor on management information systems and IT and strategy. I highly recommend. So yes, it was really interesting, and it was unexpected for me myself. What else should I say? The statistics is not the worst course, I think. It was very interesting. So maybe you got frightened by all this, but yes, it's actually a very interesting course, and the professor is very helpful always. And actually, when I had statistics course, I broke my arm severely, and I missed some classes. So I went to the consultations. And I went on 2 or 3 consultations, and the professor was very attentive, and he answered all my questions and explained everything I missed. So yes, I was worrying that I wouldn't make this course after the injury, but it was good. It was not easy to understand, but with some thinking and late nights and the professor's help, it's you can really understand this. The bigger challenge for me was financial management and financial accounting. Maybe I'm not into finance part, more into IT part. So what else can I say?
Okay, we can ask you some questions, maybe if there's.
Of course, but one more thing I wanted to say is about the elective courses. So I think you would want to closely check these elective courses because, for example, some of them are held only in summer, or some of them only in autumn and fall semesters. So it's better to plan ahead to check you usually get the next semester schedule along with the tentative next semester after that schedules. So you want to look closely for that because some courses are just hard to catch. Yeah, that's all, and I will be happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Eugenia. Yeah, you were right. That is a good suggestion. If you want specific courses, we can help you plan an individual sequence for the elective courses. Okay, Arturs, last but not least, I would like to introduce you to Arturs Pielens-Pelans. You are International Business Development Director at Squalio Group. And today's topic was driving transformation, and you are an expert in this topic, I would say, and you're an innovator and entrepreneur. So maybe you could introduce yourself to us, and then we can also ask you some questions regarding your studies.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, now I'm yeah, I met actually the Eugenia and Laura in my studies, so it's not a secret. So I'm also providing some lectures to students about starting from digital transformation courses, ITIL, and process organization. So a lot of things I can also try to put from my own personal experience, put in studies. But right now I'm leading the business development of Latvian-owned companies, Squalio. So I'm building the business abroad. So looking how to establish ourselves in different regions like the Europe and not only Europe, and so on. So, and a lot of the things that I'm doing right now, it's taken from the RBS studies as well. Maybe international business growth was not like the subject that I could choose, but somehow it came to me from other angles. But anyway, when I made my decision to study in RBS, it was more like something. It was like a trend, and I was working in Latelecom in these days, and it was like trend for all the top managers from Latelecom. It was Latelecom times then to choose studies in RBS because it like gave the basis to understand the business and concepts and other main factors that were important for Latelecom. And I thought, okay, I should also try myself in RBS and learn this and so on. I also had some recommendations from specific board members who said, yeah, go to RBS, choose those and those subjects, and this is going to be good and important for you. And when I came, I thought, okay, of course I have to build around my study something like something on which I can really like focus myself on. And then I basically, okay, just going through the years, it was 2.5 years. I did a quick study, so it was fully loaded, basically three subjects every quarter. And I came to my master thesis, and I made a decision to try something new in Latelecom environment. And I chose to build the new stuff, the TET. And this was my my master thesis, to build the TET brand, to build a TET electricity service for Latelecom, and just to put as a good idea. And so I did the whole strategic analysis, financial analysis, the business concept, the market perspective, and other things. And so I started the master thesis in April, and it was finished in in June. So basically, I graduated in June, and in August it was approved by all stakeholders and the shareholders of La Telecom Group. And basically, as soon as I finished my master thesis, in a couple of months, I launched the TET. As we all know, currently there's no La Telecom anymore; it's only TET. So this is more or less my master thesis, what I did in RBS. So this is what I can share from myself. And yeah, so now I'm not in La Telecom anymore, or in TET anymore, but this was not, I still like TET and I still like this idea, what I did and so on, but I understood that I can go a bit further or maybe even much further. And I see that Latvia is not a limit for our businesses. And this digital world is giving us more and more advantages to see ourselves in other regions. And so I'm now here in Squalio. And at the same time, being a close friend with RBS, giving some good insights and good ideas for a couple of lectures. So as example, there's such a strategy course together with other lecturers. And Andrei is that one specifically, so he's inviting me as a guest lecturer case by case to especially explain students about the international markets, how to from where to start, how to evaluate, and so on. And yeah, so being close friend to RBS is I'm still here and sharing what I can share basically to students so that I can be supportive here.
Thank you, Arturs. Dear audience, do you have any questions to our guests regarding the studies, the alumni experience, the application, the tests, anything that you would like to know from real people who have gone through the program recently? If there are no questions coming up yet, I can ask you my question. Maybe one by one you can answer. What was the biggest challenge during your studies? Whoever wants to go first.
Do we take the same order or vice versa? I can start.
You can start.
Okay, so I can start. My biggest challenge was the timing, because I was really I put all my efforts to finish as soon as possible. Of course, you can always try even to do it more faster, so like taking the 5 courses per semester. But and it was a challenge because I sacrificed all my summers and other things just to make it as quickly as possible, because my position was not to lose time and to get my knowledge as soon as possible and to apply it to my work life as soon as possible. And I accepted this challenge. It was personally given to myself by myself, so it was like this. And I graduated with red diploma. So yeah, even though if there is no time and you think there will be no more time, so still you can make it even quite fast. And it was for me a bit over 2 years.
Thank you, ladies.
For me, actually, it's hard to comment because, as I explained, I did the long way approach. So workload wise, I didn't have that challenge. I think the challenge itself was the studies, the applying to RBS itself, because actually I did it very spontaneously. Basically, I knew I wanted to study something more. I already had a master's degree in international marketing from Sweden, but as I explained, I knew I lacked the knowledge of the general business management. So, and then I suddenly found out that this program is going to happen, and the deadline for applying was on that day. So I did it really quickly. I did the test and I got admitted. So I think that the program itself, I actually didn't think that I can do it. I didn't think that I can do it, but I'm so proud of myself now. So yeah, you can do it.
Well, me then, I had some problem with work-study life balance because yes, I didn't want to be as fast as possible, but I wanted to fit 3.5 years possibly, and I didn't have the opportunity to miss a lot of work, for example. So yes, I put in my schedule on work this 3 hours 2 times a week that I'm not available after 5:30 because you know that the time the time to get to our best also. Yes, but in other days I had to work full time and still study and still do it well. So it was a bit hard. So I think that for some courses, even 2 courses at one semester is a not very good idea because yes, sometimes I had this thought that if I had only one course, I would be more dedicated. I would learn more about this course. I would have more time on this. And sometimes I thought, for example, I want to read more about this, for example, service operation course. We had, but I had my strategic management homework by tomorrow, and yes, perhaps the Laura's way was the best. I think so. Yes, and I see Linda is asking wants to ask something.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the admissions. So for this intellectual test, were you preparing for it in any way? And if yes, are there any like tips or resources that could be useful for us that want to apply?
Well, I think I will start. I can start. So yes, I was preparing to the intellectual test. First of all, there was an example of the test on the RBS site. You can check it. And so I got familiarized with this type of tasks, type of questions that will be asked. And actually, I just went to the guy who taught my kids math and asked him, let me pay you for 2 times and we'll talk about logic and critical thinking. And we did it. Yes, as far as I remember, I passed quite well. So also there are books for GMAT that you can buy or download maybe, where you can read the questions. And I recommend there are some questions that are actually based on USA practice, the mostly political questions about elections. On the third part, the critical thinking part. So maybe you would want to read a bit more about this, but it's doable. I think you can do it. It's not very hard. It's hard, but it's doable. Okay.
I think I also can explain the best, but those 5 years ago when I was applying, there was this test in RBS website. So I found out that I have to, since I applied in the very last minute, at 2 o'clock during the day, I found out that I have to take the test in that day at 6 o'clock. So I opened up the website, RBS website, and all I did was taking those test environment, this intellectual test for these like 3 hours. And then I went and did it. But as Eugenia was explaining, it's like a lot of about the critical thinking and logics. So you don't have to be afraid of it, and you can easily take this test environment in RBS website to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, can I speak about my experience?
Sure, we all can do it, but very shortly. We're running out of
Very
time now.
shortly. Well, actually, I had similar challenge as Artur's had. It's time. It's time because I wanted to go through the studies as quick as possible. I was always taking two classes per semester, and that was really difficult to balance work life. Because it was when I was studying, I was working in banks, and it was banking crisis in full bloom in Latvia. Well, and I had small kid at home, so that was my biggest challenge. And funny enough, the second biggest challenge was English, because as many persons of my age, I learned English from programming manuals. And in fact, when applying for Riga Business School, I missed in TOEFL test by 1 point, just 1 point. And thanks to Professor Brinkman, as I mentioned in the beginning, he convinced the administration of Riga Business School to take me, because Professor Brinkman knew me from my studies in Riga Technical University, and he know that I'm the person who will do everything to get on. Yeah, so this is my experience. But the most difficult was to balance family life, work life, and studies.
Thank you, Aldis. Arturs, do you have anything to say about the test?
Well, the test actually, it was really long years, many years ago. So when I took this test, and I know that it was fully enough for me to try this RBS, also somewhere visible test, and as I did it almost without any mistakes, so I understood that I'm ready for that. So not 0 seconds or minutes for preparation, just going to finish it, and that's it.
Yeah.
It wasn't so hard.
Arturs, what was your background before RBS? Was it engineering?
Yes, I'm coming from industry like energetics and electricity. So this is my part, and I have the bachelor degree in this. So that's why maybe, yeah, the math and logical thinking was already like well established in my head. So that's why it wasn't so complicated for myself now.
Mm-hmm. And Laura, you said you had a master's in international marketing. Was that correct?
Yeah, marketing and bachelor in PR. So I wasn't very much into math.
Yeah,
So-
okay. And Zhenya, your background was translating in languages?
Actually, no. Actually, it was public relations. We worked a lot with the texts, but yeah, it was public relations in St. Petersburg University.
Yeah, and I can comment on my experience about the test as a student and as an employee as well. So I did prepare for the test. What I did was I attended the intellectual test advising session where a faculty member of Riga Business School runs through one example of this intellectual test and gives you extra material to study at home so you can prepare. And also it is a GMAT, G-M-A-T, GMAT-based test, so you can Google that. And I'm sure you'll find plenty of material. And also we have study books here in our library that you can borrow and study from them. And there will be a test advising session this year as well, Linda, so we can invite you to that when we have the dates for it. Any other questions? Otherwise, we will have to wrap up because I promised my colleagues we will fit in 1 hour and 30 minutes. All right. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, guests. Thank you, Alde. Thank you, Greg, once again, if you're watching this. And I'm so happy you chose to invest these couple hours in helping other students choose their future. And also for the students that you chose to be here tonight. Thank you so much. You will be able to see this video recording on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. Before we leave, one short advice from our alumni and from Aldis.
Well, take that step Yeah, basically my experience, not only my personal experience, but my experience with students is that it's worth of it. It's worth of it.
Thank you. Zhenya.
Actually, the same. You should do it. You should definitely do it. It was.
Thank you. Thank you. Artur, I see your mic is on.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically, I know that there will be no regrets, really, just making the step. Maybe, I don't know, this year, next year anyway. So this is something I would really suggest. And I don't know anyone who would say, oh, yeah, it was not my best decision to go there. I just know many guys who, and not guys, okay, my colleagues and ex-colleagues who are following me and actually being now business school students after I finished, after my stories and my experience. So that's why there will be no regrets, definitely. Just do it, yeah.
From my side, I agree to everybody, and I can say that I don't know anyone who has quit, at least me personally. Like there are some students who like started and then they took a short break, but they came back because they want to finish it, and it is interesting and it is worth it, definitely. So don't be afraid to start. You will be able to finish sooner or later. And yeah, thanks to the opportunity to choose the courses, you're not really kind of pushed to do it. Now, like in 2.5 years, you can really prolong it, I think up to 6 years, I'm not sure, but yeah, and you don't have to pay for the year which you skip, so that's also great. So there are many options, and people are really welcoming and understanding at RBS. So if you ever have a problem, you can always find a solution together with the RBS staff. So don't hesitate. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. On this note, I would like to invite you to sign up for an individual consultation if you have more questions or if you would like to have more personal experience. And I also join my colleagues and wish you to take the challenge and invest in your personal and in your career development. I'm looking forward to seeing you here at RBS. Have a great evening.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Elsa.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.